Hey there, Petra here from Petra Fisher Movement. Today I wanted to share a different way of thinking about floor sitting. I'm a big fan of floor sitting because it is a way to vary your movement, to get a lot of body weight strength going on, because you've got to take your body down to the floor and up from the floor. It doesn't sound like a big deal when you do it once, but if you do it all day, you're actually carrying a lot more of a load than you might anticipate. And you can actually test that. Just if you try right now 10 times in a row quickly to go down to and up from the floor, you'll really notice it. So anyway, I'm a big fan of floor sitting, but that whole down and up process is a big deal too. And today I'd like to share one of my favorite ways to get down to the floor and up from the floor. I'm going to show you a couple ways to vary it because it can be a little hard on the knees, especially if you're just working on creating strength in the range. So it's a variation on the lunge, and let's get to it. All right, so you're sitting on the floor and you're ready to get up from the floor. Tons of ways to do it. I like a lunge mostly because it gives you some work in hip extension, and also it's a good way to work on some posterior strength and just to get into an area that a lot of us aren't very strong in. So usually what I would do is set myself up with about a 90-degree angle at both knees, my front knee and my back knee. And all you're gonna do is tuck your back toes under, you're gonna press into both feet, and you're gonna lift yourself straight up. So give that a try a couple of times, just lunging straight up. Really make sure you're pressing into both feet. See how that feels. And you can switch legs. Obviously, if you're doing this in real life, you just have to do it once, but we might as well do it as an exercise a couple of times. So you're just floating up and down. I like to keep my front knee vertically aligned over my ankle. Just helps me get a little bit more into the back of that front leg. All right, so that's actually really hard work. So some ways to play around with this. The first thing that you can notice when you're lunging is what's happening with your upper body. So I was demonstrating it to you fairly vertically, but if you try noticing when you just go for it, you might notice that you really lean forward as you lunge, like that. There's no problem with that, but what it means is you're actually making it easier on yourself. You're using kind of a power assist because gravity means you don't have to use as much muscle if you lean forward. And that's one of the things we do in a lot of different movement patterns. So the more you lean forward, the less you're using your muscles, and the more you're kind of contributing to this constant forward throwing of our bodies that you don't really need to do. So you're going to try to verticalize yourself. Come straight up and down, and then go forward. Notice that it's so much easier. And then try straight up and down again. And the next thing you can do to vary is you can play around with the floor. So my bolster is a good stand-in for the floor. And if you're finding all the way to the ground isn't great for your knees, or what you might notice is that you don't have a lot of control in the base of the motion. So you might find that as you're going, you're okay, and then you kind of clump down. That's a sign you're losing muscular control and stabilization at the bottom of the movement. So if that's what you're noticing, just build up the floor a bit. And you're gonna work from a slightly higher point, same exercise, staying in control the whole time, especially paying attention to the very bottom part of that motion until you own it. And then once you can do that, no problem, you can move on, you can lower your bolster, you can do it with a half dome or a rolled blanket until you are able to lunge, no problem, vertically, controlling the motion the whole way through, no falling at the bottom. So those are some variations on ways you can get up from and down to the floor. Lunge variations. I happen to be really a big fan of all of them. Still kind of breathing hard. There's lots of ways to do it. One interesting thing to do is just to notice what you do when you're not paying attention. So maybe you always go to your right, or maybe you always go to your left. It's nice to check in with that because that's going to tell you something about your body and how you got your body to the state that it's in now. So there's so much to explore in the world of floor sitting and in the general world of movement. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it whet your appetite for a bit more. And if you would like, I do share a lot of tips and information on my website, which is petrafishermovement.com. and I hope you get a chance to check it out and find some good information and tips there as well. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.